no place like the Q.
Coming across your airwaves, dance with me. It's an intersection all day, and it's gonna bring you the weekly.
Family, is the news overwhelming? Is it just too much? Well, I get you, and I got you.
Yeah.
Family, this is your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment. This is your number one stop for queer news done right, only on E3 Radio.
Come on. Y'all got to pray with me, all right? Bow our heads. Let's go. Lord, I want you to bless our sister Tiana Taylor, Lord. Keep her single and away from 6'3" green-eyed men with muscles, Lord. Give the average man a chance with her, Lord. Hell, give the average woman a chance with her as well, Lord.
Nothing like a good laugh to start the show, family. That was Chicago's own actor and comedian Dion Cole hosting the NAACP Image Awards last night. We will talk about them a little bit later in the show, but I just want y'all to know that we support the average woman shooting her shot with Tiana Taylor, okay? I support this type of carrying on, for real. QCrew was good. I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for your continued commitment to helping me sustain this here podcast. Truly. You helped me to cover the cost for our editor, Ryan, who I quite literally would not want to do this podcast without. And so if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is in the show notes, okay? And don't you forget about the Queer News tip line. If you've got a story, a song, an organization that you want to uplift, send me a voicemail. I'll play it on the show like an ad for free. You already know what's in the show notes. Come on now. And now for the news. In top news, Kansas is so infuriating right now. So let's talk about it. And let's talk about what led to hundreds of our trans sibs in Kansas losing their driver's licenses overnight. Also in politics, celebrations are in order as Texas's anti-DEI policy and legislation has been issued a preliminary injunction by the federal court. And in Florida, Pulse Nightclub is set to be demolished this month, so let's get into that. Now, in culture and entertainment, we dive into Wanda Sykes' new lead role, trans Chicagoan and comedian Leo Cundiff being a hero, okay, and jumping into the freezing waters of Lake Michigan and saving a baby's life. And of course, we got to talk about the queer folks who won at the NAACP Image Awards. Come on, let's get into it. For our top story this week, we got an update regarding the status of the Kansas Senate bill we've been discussing for the last couple weeks. You know the one, the disgusting anti-trans one, whose official name is Bill 244. Well, last week we reported that this bill would allow private citizens to act as bounty hunters by searching for trans folks, utilizing private business bathrooms, and suing them for as much money as possible. You remember? And do you also remember that it was vetoed by Democratic Governor Kelly, who argued that the bill was simply poorly drafted legislation? Well, unfortunately, also as we discussed, her veto might be overridden. Well, it was by Kansas Republicans, and child, they're exhausting, and it's infuriating, and it's disgusting because now this legislation has gone into effect. This means that using the bathroom that doesn't match your sex assigned at birth in government buildings is now illegal. The bill also stated that Kansas driver's licenses now must reflect a person's sex assigned at birth. And I just want y'all to just take a minute and reflect on the trans sibs you all know. And if they really decided in droves to begin using the bathroom that matches their sex assigned at birth, the mayhem, the chaos that would ensue if they actually followed this. Jesus. Let me get back to reporting. Hundreds of trans residents in Kansas received a letter from the state stating, pursuant to the new law, if the gender sex indication on the face of your current credential does not match your sex assigned at birth, you are directed to surrender your current credential to the Kansas Division of Vehicles. That's what the letter said. They were given a 24-hour notice to surrender their license and get a new one. Those caught operating a vehicle after the notice, quote, may be subject to additional penalties, end quote. Now get this. Some of our trans civs in Kansas did. They went to the DMV after the notice, and you know what they found out? The state wasn't ready. DMV employees were unprepared for the sudden law change, and on top of it all, our trans civs got to pay a fee to update their licenses. Y'all know how chaotic the DMV is, even the best of them. Okay? It is mayhem most of the time. And then you're going to drive folks to go get a license change because of a law that shifted, and you think those systems was ready? They were not. And all of this comes shortly before important voting days in March this month and the primaries in June, which require what, family? A photo ID. Now, really give all of this some thought. What is the real reason for all this nonsense? I promise, most of it you can lead back to voting and honestly, always back to the money. Because what can't you do without a license? What can't you do? You can't vote, you can't drive, you can't get a job, you can't travel, you can't open a bank account, you can't use your credit cards, you can't prove citizenship, you can't navigate federal services, you can't navigate federal benefits, you can't even buy alcohol or cannabis to have to deal with this. A lawsuit has been filed by the ACLU, the ACLU of Kansas, and Ballard Spahr LLP on behalf of two anonymous trans Kansans in response to this anti-trans legislation, claiming that the bill, quote, violates the Kansas Constitution's protections for personal autonomy, privacy, equality under the law, due process, and freedom of speech. In a statement from ACLU Kansas legal director, Monica Bennett, she said, the legislation is a direct attack on the dignity and humanity of transgender Kansans. It undermines our state's long constitutional protections against government overreach and persecution. Well, y'all already know we're going to continue to follow this story because I know it affects y'all listening. Because one state gets this done, and then another state will copy it, and then another state will copy it. This has been their game plan for the last 5-7 years. To my trans civs in Kansas, y'all hold on to each other, okay? Find community, be in community, and hold each other up. Because this is absolutely awful. And we will keep following the story to see how all of this unfolds. Now, in the name of some good political news, okay, and it's got the nerve to be coming out of Texas, Anti-Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Bill, also known as Senate Bill 12, has been issued a preliminary injunction by the federal court. This bill took effect September 1st, 2025, and it banned programs and discussions relating to race, gender identity, and sexual orientation in all public and charter schools in Texas from pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. The bill also included a total ban of gender and sexuality alliance clubs. You may know them as gay-straight alliances. And it also mandated written parental consent on curriculum, screenings, check-ins, or surveys with any focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, though, a preliminary injunction means that key parts of the bill were challenged, and until the issues are resolved, this mess has completely paused, okay? And the real T in all of this, and I really do literally mean T.E.A. or the Texas Education Association commissioner was dismissed from the court because he failed to enforce the law in a timely manner. LGBTQ plus rights groups such as the Texas ACLU and the Transgender Law Center celebrated the preliminary injunction. And we all should be celebrating this preliminary injunction. In a kind-hearted message, senior staff attorney of the Transgender Law Center, Dale Meckert, wrote this. This win affirms that every young person, no matter their background, should have the freedom to learn about themselves and the wide range of identities of their peers. Students in these districts can once again join GSA clubs, learn and discuss various histories and cultures, and have their identities, including the usage of their correct names and pronouns, respected by their teachers. We will keep fighting for schools that are safe, inclusive, and welcoming for all. I love to see it, okay, don't you? But we also know it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy, especially in states like Texas. The law can say one thing, but people feeling safe to implement it is a whole other thing. We will, of course, celebrate this preliminary injunction and celebrate that, in essence, this can be true. But we'll see what actually happens. And of course, we'll keep following the story. In our last political story of the day, Pulse Nightclub is set to be demolished on March 18th. I don't know about y'all, but I know I have never been the same since that massacre in 2016. Right? And the city of Orlando announced that key artifacts such as posters and chandeliers from inside the building have been transported to a warehouse for safekeeping, and that the pole sign that's outside will be removed on or near March 10th as part of the process. And the sign will be securely stored after its removal. Now, in the nightclub's place, the city plans to build a memorial for the 49 lives lost, and they will reveal the designs for the memorial during a town hall meeting on March 5th. Survivors and friends and family of the victims have voiced concerns over how the city of Orlando is managing the project, but some locals, like Trudy Very, are sad to see the building go. It's been here so long. It should just stay like this and serve as a memorial itself, says Trudy. I feel like if they did it right after it happened, it wouldn't have been so controversial. But now, after so long, and after all of the chalk stuff that happened, it will be a really, really big deal that it will be taken down. And the chalk stuff that Trudy is talking about is the removal of the crosswalk outside of Pulse Nightclub and the removal of crosswalks across Florida, which we have reported about here on this podcast. I've also reported about the controversies and the ownership and all of the mess and drama that has surrounded Pulse Nightclub since 2016. People have flown in to see the nightclub as it is before its demolition. Fencing can already be seen around the building, wrapped in a purple and blue tarp. Printed on the tarp are the names of the 49 victims. The plans for the memorial and update can be found at pulseorlando.org. And we'll continue to follow this story as well, because Pulse Nightclub meant so much to the folks in Orlando, the people there, the queer community there, and the lives that were lost impacted so many people. And honestly, it has not been handled well. So we'll see what this memorial looks like. We'll see how it serves the community. And we'll look to hear from the people. We'll look to hear from the people. Now feels like a great time to take a break. So let's do that. And we'll get back. We'll get into culture and entertainment, okay? Okay. If you're listening to this, it means we didn't sell this ad space. If you're listening to this, it means running ads on our podcast can actually work. You see what I did there? Do you need some promo? A little amplification? Hit us up at info@e3radio.fm. That's info@e3radio.fm. We have a platform. You should use it. Did you know we had a newsletter? Yes, the Queer News Podcast has a weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday. There's a special newsletter for the QCrew, but there's a free newsletter for absolutely everybody. So if you want to stay in the know about what I got going on, what I got to say unfiltered, and just a list of all the stories covered every single week with time codes, you got to subscribe to the newsletter. A link to subscribe is in the show notes. Welcome back to the show, family. Now let's get into some culture and entertainment. Comedian and actress Wanda Sykes is the leading lady in a new film titled Undercard. This film marks Wanda's first feature-length lead role in a drama. Can you believe that? After all these years, this is her first feature-length lead role in a drama. Wanda plays the role of Cheryl No Mercy Stewart, a boxing trainer who reconnects with the son she abandoned. Gay Magazine, one of our favorite queer outlets, period, reveals that, quote, a two-time former boxing champion who is now in recovery from alcoholism, after years of estrangement, Cheryl reaches out to her 21-year-old son, Keith Stewart, played by Bentley Green. Their reunion is fraught with resentment and unresolved trauma, but it also opens the door to a fragile partnership rooted in shared ambition and unfinished business. Don't it sound good? It sounds so good. The film is directed by Tamika Miller and written by Anita M. Cow and Tamika Miller. The film finished its rounds in the film festival circuit, receiving laurels for the Audience Award for the Best Narrative Feature from the Newport Beach Film Festival and Best Independent Film at the St. Louis International Film Festival. Undercard just released theatrically on February 27th, so check your local theater for showtimes because it might be in your area. In a statement from Wanda upon the release of the film, she exclaimed, "Finally! This project has been in the works for years. I'm excited for the audience to see it on the big screen. The love that was poured into the making of this film from top to bottom." The last time we've seen Wanda Sykes on screen was for the television comedy The Upshaws. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this project turns out. Wanda's been at this a long time, and she deserves some feature film success, okay? Absolutely. The next story is coming out of Chicago. And the day started like any other for comedian Leo Cundiff. That is until while taking a walk along the lakeshore, he saw the wind blow a baby stroller into Lake Michigan. Without a moment's hesitation, he jumped into the below freezing waters to rescue the child. He said, quote, "I wasn't gonna let that baby die. That's crazy." Leo told local news channel WLS TV. Leo treaded water for minutes, while other passersby joined in the rescue by calling paramedics and tossing down a life preserver into the water to assist. One person went as far as tossing his own jacket into the water for Leo to cling on to until more help arrived, and the two were eventually pulled from the water. The baby has reportedly suffered no serious injuries, and after an overnight stay in the hospital, Leo was cleared to return home. But Leo's best friend started a GoFundMe, and I'm really glad Leo has a best friend like this, okay? Because Leo needs some help to support the medical care and some ongoing care he's gonna need. Now, the GoFundMe has reached over $75,000, which is incredible, okay? But he was hospitalized so doctors could monitor his heart, which was affected by the freezing water. His friend shares that medical bills are piling up and adding to the stress of an already difficult situation. Because Leo is a comedian and a server who lives check to check, who is having to miss work in order to recover. So those looking to support Leo can give to the GoFundMe. When Leo gets back out here doing stand-up, go check out his shows. He performs at the Laugh Factory, the House of Blues, and other venues across the city. Leo describes his stand-up like so. The way I do comedy is I have something that happens and I just go on stage a few times and I spit it out and see what hits and what doesn't. When asked about his heroic actions by The Guardian, Leo had the following to say: "All I did was a human act. I'm just a human who did the most human thing you could do, which is save someone who can't save themselves. We are human, and we're the same as everyone else, and we don't deserve the hate that we've gotten." What else is there to say? Well done, Leo. Well done. And y'all know, a link to the GoFundMe is in the show notes. So if you've got some money that you can give, go support Leo, okay? We gotta support our heroes. Come on. Now for our last story of the day, the 57th annual NAACP Image Awards were over the weekend. And before I close out the show, we gotta give shout outs, okay, to the queer stars who won big. Chicago native comedian T. Sanders won the award for Outstanding Digital Content Creator, Art and Comedy. Okay, this is the first year for this category, and T was the only woman nominated, okay, for this award. She wrote on her IG, "Still in awe, just a girl from the Chi." Come on, T, we are so proud of you here in the city. And Coleman Domingo was awarded the President's Award and spoke from the heart during his speech. Take a listen to a portion of it.
Thank you so much, first of all, to my friends and my colleagues here. I had about 4 different speeches written, and I let go of all of them this morning because I wanted to speak from the heart and talk about service and what gets you to this stage. You don't get here alone. You get here with dreams and belief from your mother, who did days work and was always going back to school and showing you what having a good education means. You get here by having a stepfather named Clarence Bowles, who came along when I was about 8 years old and married my mom. He was a blue-collar worker. He sanded hardwood floors. He fired me from my summer job with him because he said to me, he said, "Son, come here. This is your last summer doing this." I said, "Why?" I thought I was doing a good job. He says, "I don't want you doing this backbreaking work. I want you to work with your mind." He held out his hands that had calluses on them. And he said, "Let me tell you something. I don't want that for you. I want you to have soft hands. And I want you, when you go far, I want you to have something that you believe in and do good things in the world." And I carry that message with me. With every man that I portray, I want to make sure that I give them their full humanity. With the rooms that I build, I want to make sure they look just like us in every single way in all of our complexity. I want to make sure that there's love, and more love. I thank you so much. It's so beautiful to be here with every single person that I love and that I admire. You're doing beautiful work, every single one of you, and let's keep going. Thank you. Happy Black History Month.
Just congratulations to all of the NAACP award winners. The show was fantastic. And during this time where folks like the President of the United States is actively removing diversity, equity, inclusion as a value, we must support each other. And it was absolutely beautiful to watch. Now it's time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And the word for today is to keep betting on yourself. I'm going to keep betting on myself, and I need you to keep betting on yourself, okay? I told y'all last week I couldn't make it to New York for the AMBs because of the weather. And I shared that it was really disappointing. You know, I really looked forward to it and looked forward to seeing my people, because we very rarely get to see each other in person. But you got to trust the process, right? That's what I said last week. And I watched the award show on a Zoom with some of my homies because we couldn't be there. And I didn't win. I didn't win for Best Indie Podcast Host. And I'm a competitive person, okay? I love to win. And what I know for sure is that you will always lose more than you win. If you keep betting on yourself and you keep putting yourself out there, you will lose more than you win. And that's why the wins are so sweet. That's why the wins are so sweet, okay? And so in this moment, I want to challenge all of us to continue to bet on ourselves, not to turn away when things don't go our way, but to celebrate those that do win, to celebrate those who are nominated, to celebrate ourselves for the journey, for the process. Because there are so many people who just never take a chance, who just never bet on themselves, who don't see the possibilities of the thing, okay? Or don't have the privilege to do so. So if you got a dream out there, you got something stirring in your belly that you don't know what to do with, bet on yourself and make it happen. Somebody didn't wake up today, okay? Somebody did not wake up this morning. My dad often says, it's a blessing to be seen and not viewed. Okay? And so in that spirit, family, don't waste another moment. Bet on yourself, okay? Till next week. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna Deshawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.